Hey everybody, today is January 25th, 2020. Today's project is going to be doing the brakes. I've been looking forward to doing this. I'm actually really curious to see what's on the inside of these. I'm curious on the condition of them. I'm going to replace them regardless, but I was just curious how they look on the inside. So I'm going to get started in the rear brakes and then work my way to the front. The front is a little more involved because you have to take out the wheel bearings. I know that part. I did a little exploratory on the front just to see what I was getting into in the front because I heard that there's a lot of parts to that. So I just wanted to kind of know what I was in for. But I'm going to start in the back. I feel like that's going to be easier. Just pop them off and put the new brake shoes in, master cylinder and springs. And then I got new hubs too to replace those. I just want to be completely new. All right, I'll bring you back when I'm ready to go. So guys, this week I did some investigating on what to use to get this off. I found out that this is a hard issue. With restoring these is getting these brake hubs off. So I got a lot of good input between Instagram, Facebook, and just talking to different people. So the most common opinion was to use either a 12-ton puller or a slide hammer. So I looked at different automotive places. Couldn't really find what I really felt comfortable with using on this. So what I ended up doing is calling up Jeep Willys, and they recommended using this 12-ton puller that they supplied, which was a little expensive, but I feel like I have 4 of these that I have to do, and it definitely would be worth not being aggravated with it and just getting it done, which I would think the other pulley, which now looks like it's pretty lightweight, seemed like it was really good before. 5 tons, that seems like it would be more than enough to pull this off. Other vehicles I've worked on, you can just pull the hubs off by hand, so I'm really surprised that this is such a tough thing to do. You know what I might spray in this too is a little fluid film. Just to give it some added coverage. Spray the end too so that don't have any friction. Alright, so I guess this screws into here. You know what guys, I'll bring you back once I get this set up. Alright guys, so I got that in position. It was a little tricky. You had to put this on the lug bolts and put the lug nuts on, and while you're putting those on, you have to make sure these little notches are lined up also. As you tighten, you have to tighten this up, make sure these are lined up, and then tighten these. That's how I could see that it goes on, and they just make sure you have to grease this, make sure this is lubricated. So what they give you is this thing called a dog bone. And at first glance, it looks like you grab it like this and turn it and try to tighten it up. But what it is actually these little hammers here, you hit with a hammer. And it gives it enough jolt that it's supposed to pop these right off. But what they warn you against is not standing in front of this, because this can come off with a lot of force and you just don't want that to hit you. So I'm going to use the sledgehammer and see if we can get that off. looks like the hub is just spinning, but the screw is spinning a little bit. I'm a little reluctant to put anything in there to pry against this because I don't want to damage anything here. So I'm going to try this for a couple of seconds and see how this works. I think it is moving. That's not good. I'm gonna have to get another hammer. All right, let's try that again. Try this with a regular hammer. All right, got it. Got those off. I'm surprised how good everything looks. There's a lot of meat still on those brake shoes. I mean, I'm gonna still change them, but there really wasn't much wear at all on this. Which typically, I think back brakes get a lot less wear anyway. But yeah, looks good. I'll change those out now. Yeah, I don't know. Do those look like they need to be changed? I don't know. Rear brakes are done. Now time to move on to the front ones. All right, so now I'm going to get into the front brakes. I'm going to remove this cap and also remove these bolts here that are going to reveal the bearings. And I'm going to remove that, and hopefully this hub comes off a lot easier. All right, so I removed the cap. I'll just clean this grease out of here so I can see what's going on. Looks like it's like a spring clip holding that on. So I'm gonna undo that. Hopefully this don't go springing across the garage here. All right, so now I'm going to undo these bolts. See if that hub pulls off. Hopefully this is easier than the rear hubs. pulled off nice. Let's see, what is that? Looks like these have been taken off before. I know I took off the other side just to get an idea of what was going on. But this definitely has some screwdriver marks, which would kind of make sense. Maybe the front brakes go bad before the back brakes. This has a little keyway that fits there. There we go. So it looks like this has a little keyway that it fits into. I just gotta make sure that you can see there's a little raised area here and that was facing out. So I'll put that like that. It looks like another nut, which was just hand tight in there. It wasn't very tight. I wonder if this can just pull off now. Yeah. Nice. Wow, that comes off a lot easier than the other hubs. And I thought these were going to be the hard ones. Goes in there, just like that. All right, great. All right. Bearing on the inside of that. Keep that right here. All right, so that's the inside of the brakes. These are definitely worn down a lot more than the other ones. These are actually in a lot worse shape. So now I'll go ahead, clean all that up, replace the wheel bearing there. I mean, not wheel bearing, the wheel cylinder. And I'll clean that up and replace those pads and springs. I'll bring you guys back when I clean this all up. Brake shoes replaced, the wheel cylinder, the springs. I cleaned that all up in there. There was a ton of brake dust. This front brake got a lot more wear than the back brake. The hub was all scored and it looked horrible. So it's good that we're replacing this. I actually replaced the hub also taking the lug bolts out of these is kind of tough. You have to really hammer on them to get them out, but you don't want to hammer on them enough where you ruin the threads. Hopefully I didn't do that. I tried one of them and it seemed like it was a little harder to thread on, so I'm hoping I didn't ruin those. But if I did, I'll just have to get new ones and pull this hub off again. I don't think I did because they don't look that bad. So I'm going to try to get this back together, repack the grease on the bearings, and work on the other side. All right, good progress this weekend. Got all the brake drums in, all the wheel cylinders, shoes, everything's completed on the inside of the brakes. The only thing is I screwed up a couple of the lug bolts when I popped them out to replace the drums. So at one point I'm going to have to get new lug bolts, replace those, and get those so they're all working. There's one in the front here and one in the back. It's not really a big deal. I can pop these off easy enough. That one I really don't think is too screwed up. I think I can actually clean up the threads and get that lug nut to get on there pretty easy. But all in all, everything went pretty well. Definitely a lot hotter than I thought. A lot more time consuming, but you know, that's the way it goes. So next weekend, I think I'm going to work on the master cylinder and start running the brake lines. Hopefully I can get that done, but we'll see. Might do some prep work too. I do want to put in some, I have an idea on making some hangers for both the wires and the brake lines. Because I feel like that's always kind of an awkward thing to do, is hang the brake lines and the wiring for the taillights. So I'm thinking of doing something within that channel right there in the frame, right in here. So maybe I might just work on that next weekend or during the week, I'll see. But I'll see you guys next weekend. Have a great week, and thanks for hanging out with me in the garage.